So create draft shine.
So today we're going to be learning how to draft the basic skirt block. So this is my pattern paper. So first thing first, to know the size of pattern paper to work with, use your largest measurement, which is your hip circumference divided by 2 plus 2. The 2 is for ease on the pattern. So today I'll be working with hip 40. So 40 divided by 2 is 20 plus 2 is 22. I'll take my ruler and I'll draw it out. Like so. So this is the size of block that I'll be working with. Next thing for you to do is to further divide the block into 2 equal halves. So I have 22 as the width of my block. When I divide it into 2 equal halves, it's 11. Why did I divide into 2 equal halves? So that I can get my center back and center front. That is the center back of the skirt and the center front. So always remember to label, this is my center back, while this is my center front. Next thing, I'll start marking out my vertical measurement. First is my hip line. So the hip line I'll be working with is 9. While the skirt length I'll be working with is 25. I'll also draw it out like so, and also the same for here. So here is my hip line. Always remember to label your pattern. Here is my waist. So next thing that I will do now is to start marking out my circumference. So first, for my waistline, which is this place here, I'll mark out the waist circumference divided by 4. The waist I'm working with is 24. That's divided by 4 is 6. Plus 1.5 for my dart intake. That's 1.5 for my dart intake. I'll come over to my hip line. I'll divide my hip by 4. Our hip is 40. Divided by 4 is 10. I'll mark it out also. I'll come over to my skirt length, and first I'll mark out my hip circumference divided by 4, which is 10. Now I'll explain why I use the hip circumference. Me using the hip circumference means I'm just drafting like a straight skirt. It's not a shaped skirt. It's not a pencil skirt. But I want this skirt to be shaped. I want it to be a pencil skirt. So what I will do, there are several ways to make your pencil skirt. You can come over here and just mark your waist circumference divided by 4. But take note, it's just going to be very, very shaped or pencil. So what I do is, I'll take out 2 inches from my hip circumference, which is, I'll take out 2 inches from that 40. You can decide to take out 1.5. It depends on how shaped you want the skirt to be. So for me, I'll take out 2 inches from it. And I'll connect back to my hip line. So I've successfully drafted a shaped skirt or a pencil skirt. So same thing that I've done for the front. I'll go over to the back and I will do same. You know, this is our center back here, and this is our waistline. So I'll mark the waist circumference divided by 4. But before I mark the waist circumference divided by 4, I want to do a zipper tightening or back tightening. So for me, I want to use 1 inch for my zipper tightening. You can make use of 0.5 or half an inch. For me, I made use of 1. Then I'll connect to my hip line, like so. Then from that point where I shaped, where I tightened the back of the skirt, where I did my zipper tightening, I'll place my tape there, and I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, which is 24 divided by 4, plus 1.5 for your dart intake. I'll take my tape to the hip line, which is here, and I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, which is 40 divided by 4 is 10. I'll mark it also. I'll come over to the skirt length. Now, take note of what we did at the side front here. We took out 2 inches from our hip circumference. So, okay, I'll mark out the hip circumference divided by 4 first, like as we did in front, which is 10. Take my ruler and connect all the lines together, like so. And I'll connect here also, like so. So now how do we shape? This is our center back and this is our side back. How do we now shape the hem of the skirt? There are 2 ways. You use 2 inches to shape in the front here. So you can decide to say, okay, share this 2 inches into 2 equal halves, meaning from here, I'll mark 1 inch here, while from the center back, I'll mark 1. Or you share it into 2 unequal halves. That is, marking 1.5 here and marking 0.5 here, which is half an inch. It's still equal to 2. Do you understand? Why, if I do 1.5 here and do 0.5 here, I'll be shaping this back more, and the shape at the back will show more. That is, the butt at the back will come out more. It will be properly shaped. But fine, let's do 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and connect to the hip line, like so. Do the same thing here, your 1 inch mark that you marked. So let's check for the 1 inch that I marked initially, and connect to the hip line, like so. So this is just a basic skirt block without the darts, but now we're going to mark our darts on it. Don't get confused by all these lines. Okay, so now to mark out your dart, use your bust span measurements divided by 2. The bust I'm working with is bust span I'm working with is 7, divided by 2 is 3.5. So I'll mark out that 3.5. I'm trying to mark out the dart leg, 3.5. Then from the hip line, I'll go up by 1.5. This is for the front. I'll take my straight ruler and I'll connect to that point of 1.5. Then the dart intake I added here initially was 1.5. So 1.5 divided by 2 is going to give me 0.75 on both sides. I'll also take my ruler and I'll connect it to the apex of the dart, which is this sharp point of the dart leg here. I'll connect it here. So this is my dart for the front. Then another thing I'll do, I'll come over to the center front of the skirt and I'll come down by 1 inch just to shaping the skirt and to give it proper fit. Can you see? So it means we're going to be taking out this point here. Now I'll go over to the back and also mark the dart. So for the back, from the hip line, I'll go up by 1. No, remember for the front, we went up by 1.5. Then we said our nipple to nipple is 3.5. If I should add this one to it, it's going to be 4.5. So it's 4.5. I'll mark all through. Why? So that the lines can still be straight. I'll mark it. Then the intake we also added is 1.5, which is 0.75 on both sides. Then I'll connect like so. Now take note, you can use 0.5 for your dart, but for me, I use 0.75. So this is our basic skirt block. Another thing that you can also do to give more room for the butt at the back is from the hip line, you come down by 1, you go up by 1. So when you're connecting, instead of connecting to the hip line, you just connect to this 1 inch, you connect to this 1 inch to give more room to the butt at the back. So this is our basic skirt block. Thank you for watching, and please like, share and subscribe. Bye until next time.